All right. Good morning, Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan, and welcome to this week's sales meeting. Very excited to have everyone here with us today. I think we figured out the secret formula to get Sam Zimmer to a sales meeting. You just say that there's going to be an update to a contract, and he is here early. We love that. We're going to dive right in, guys. I'm going to start off, as we do each week, with a little revisitation of our belief system. And here we are, 48 hours away from Red Day, which is going to be awesome. We will have agents throughout the city going out, doing service, hanging out with each other, having some fun, and then coming back together at Masthead Brewing at 3 o'clock for a post Red Day happy hour after party. So today's belief that we want to talk about is that third one from the top: customers. Customers always come first. And when we think about something like Red Day, this is not where we're going out and doing yard work for veterans and leaving business cards in mailboxes or hustling another lead while we're out doing service. But it is an opportunity for us to remember that as realtors, our number one customer is our communities. And so getting out there, getting involved, getting in the mix, and being a part of everything that we do, being a part of everything that our communities do allows us to have a bigger and bigger impact. So keep customers in mind this week as we go out and have a really great Red Day on Thursday. As we know, we're headed into a shift, so we're going to talk about a couple more key tactics in the shift as well to kick things off today. The first one is get to the table. This is lead conversion, right? So a couple weeks ago we talked about finding the motivated, identifying stronger and stronger lead generation opportunities. What we've been talking about all month of May, and will continue to today, is this idea of the MOFR, and that's making an offer for an immediate response. And when we are making offers for immediate response, we are getting yeses and nos. We are getting people to decide and to get off the fence as it relates to whatever it is that we're offering. So not only does that allow us to find the motivated, but it drives us towards the table. Make no mistake, in any market, but especially in a shifting market, there is no more valuable interaction than a face-to-face one. And so when we talk about getting to the table, it's not about just having 1,000 names in your database. It's not just about having a 36 touch plan. We need to be embedding strong MOFRs that compel people to raise their hand, invite us into their homes, or us invite them into our office to have a conversation about what their needs are and how we can help them. And then the sixth tactic in a shift is to catch people in your web, right? Sometimes we initially read some of this and you're like, oh, this book was written in 2010. The internet was kind of becoming a big deal for real estate. Guys, the idea that people are searching for real estate online and are involved online with their real estate inquiries has never been a bigger deal. And yeah, there are a lot of big players in the game now, but that does not mean that you don't have the assets and the resources to engage your people and get stronger insights. I'll remind you that your website through KW.com, through Command, has a national MLS on it. It's plugged into every MLS throughout the United States, and anybody can search anywhere on there. And you can have visibility and access to where they're searching, what they're searching, when they're searching, right? We have the back door inside of Command. And so if we are pushing people into that funnel, the insights that we can gain to make the right MOFR, to make the right offer for immediate response, are what are going to help us get those additional 1, 2, 3, or 10 deals by having people caught in our web. So we're going to continue to talk about shift for probably the next 2 years because that's how long it's going to take to work our way through in and out of this thing. but get excited about it because that means that there are huge opportunities on the horizon. Speaking of some huge opportunities, training calendar is stacked this month. Let's talk about a few of those things. First off, thank you all for those who attended and sent guests to our career night last night. It was, as you can tell by the body posture of everybody in this image, an absolutely riveting presentation by yours truly. Make no mistake, we laughed, we cried, we got people excited about a career in real estate, but we couldn't do it if we didn't have awesome referral partners in every single one of our agents, especially these 6 down the left-hand side who filled the room for us. As you heard me say, Red Day is right around the corner, guys. May 12th, that's this Thursday. We've got sites all over Northeast Ohio. Some places that are still looking for a helping hand. Lake County Veterans Lawn Care. We've got about 10 veterans that we serve on an annual basis. Get out and help them prep their yards and their flower beds and their shrubberies for the spring and summer season. So if you're interested in rolling up your sleeves, enjoying some nice weather, getting a base tan, then please take advantage of this opportunity. Georgia's Home out in Avon for the West Siders, a really cool opportunity to support a really cool cause and a site that supports women who are exiting dangerous environments and helps them to find safety, security, and some stability. So those are two of the sites that we have that have just a few more spots open. So if you've not signed up for Red Day, do so now. If you've never done Red Day before, you're like, hey, what's Red Day? Please click the link in the chat, go there, find a site, make some new friends with some other agents, and then join us at Masthead downtown following the event. Now, next week, we're going to have a really, really awesome panel full of some of our top buyers agents or top individuals who work with buyers. Jane Evans, Debbie Rubinsky, Sam Zimmer, and Evan Barone are going to be taking us through their survival guide to working with buyers in this market. There is a really, really strong opportunity for all of us to make the most of the buyers we have. If you haven't felt it already, the market's shifting. Having the relationships with the right buyers and being able to press right now as inventory starts to build a little bit, multiple offers start to go down, interest rates continue to rise. Understanding and having all of the tools in your tool belt necessary to win consistently, and also not lose your mind while you're doing it. That's very important too, guys. That's what we'll be covering with these 4 rock stars next week. And then at the end of next week, we are going to have our bookkeeping and accounting partner, Bobby Bodner, who runs a company called Breadify, which many of you use to simplify your accounting, bookkeeping, and taxes as 1099s. He's going to have a conversation about cryptocurrency. So this is something that, yes, it's been in the news for quite some time. But Bobby is a bit of an expert in this category, and this came up in conversation a couple weeks ago with our title partner, and was something that we saw a positive reaction from our group. So we said, hey, let's deliver a conversation. So this will be our Money Matters Mastermind for the month of May, and it'll be a great opportunity for you not only to review, revisit, and understand the finances of Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan, but also get enough information to be dangerous on this ever so popular cryptocurrency. Oops. And then finally, we have a Core Law CE coming up at the end of the month with our very own Cindy Lambert, not our very own. She's the top real estate lawyer in Northeast Ohio, but she's an incredibly impressive individual that we love to work with, partner with, and that supports our agents. So we'll be all gathering Thursday, May 26th at the Racket Club just down the road from our Pepper Pike office, where we'll have the opportunity to pick up 3 hours of core law. Very, very important for everybody who is nearing or near a renewal. But then also, the information, the perspective, the education, and the experience that Cindy brings to the table is really beyond compare. So yes, come for the CE, stay for what you actually learn about how to grow and protect your business in the most safe and positive ways. Cindy is a big brain, and we were thrilled to get her on our calendar and get this opportunity there. You can sign up for that on Eventbrite based on the location, food provided, and Cindy's time. There is a cost associated with this, and I promise it's worth every penny. All right, now we're going to throw it over to our partners, going around the horn to talk about what's going on in their respective domains. First up in the batter's box, Sean Hadley. Sean, how you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm a little tired after staying up to watch that game last night, but go Guardians, go Guardians. Sorry, I had to get it right. Go try. All right, so just really close up Fed meeting last week. They raised the interest rates 0.5%. Everyone saw that coming. Now we're already looking at the June Fed meeting. Are they going to move it 0.5%? They can move it 3/4. Relatively quiet week so far. It's only Tuesday, but we'll keep you posted on that week to week, but status quo. We'll touch on this week are just some questions that I got from, sometimes Don and I, as we come up with different thoughts, we just write down questions we get during the week from customers or from realtors in this case. So a couple of questions that popped up, one from a realtor. Another lender told me I need 20% down on a conventional loan. Is that true? I said, yes, if it's 1972, but since it's 2022, the answer is no. Primary residence, single family, 5% is the norm, 3% for a first-time home buyer. So still a myth that commonly gets missed and overlooked or misconstrued by the general public. So just a reminder on that. We do have a first-time, somebody asked, what's the minimum down payment for a 3-family home? Well, normally we say 25%, but there is a 20% down program. And if you're a first-time home buyer who makes below $62,800, you can do 5% down. So kind of a special sort of niche program that exists that not all lenders have access to. Do you do renovation loans? Absolutely. Yes, we do. We do conventional, we do FHA. We have a VA renovation loan. The details within the program are a little bit more complex. So if you've got a scenario, whether it's somebody's in a house and decides they don't want to buy, they want to fix up what they got, maybe buy a fixer-upper or a home that maybe at a lower price point to make it their own. Just always feel free to run these scenarios by us. But these questions, some of these are via text. Sometimes they're at a weird hour, so we welcome them. So anything you need, always feel free to call, email, or text. DJ?
Yeah, just to elaborate on that 5% down 2-family for a first-time home buyer, 5% down, Sean. If you get that young buyer who's looking to house hack, that would be a great first home purchase as a 2-family, and then the next one maybe they could purchase FHA 3.5% down. So that would have 2 multi-units in the course of a few years if that's what they're looking to do. So that's a great thing to take advantage of. Don't forget the renovation product. We do the renovation on conventional FHA, VA, as Sean said. And then for those that are out in rural areas, don't forget about the USDA loan. We had a question come up this past week. Can you do a USDA loan in Columbia Station? The answer to that question is yes. There are a couple of pockets on the west side in Columbia Station where I can do a USDA loan. And the only way to determine if we can do that property in any area is to plug the address into the website for USDA. That's the only way to determine if it's going to go USDA. Just because you're in the middle of nowhere doesn't mean it is USDA eligible. So if you have somebody that's looking to go no money down and it is a rural area, get us the property address and we'll see if the property qualifies.
Yeah, that is there, guys. There are a ton of great mofers in those conversations, right? Like, did you know that the average down payment on a house is somewhere between 5% and 7%? How does that work? Can I put you in touch with my lender to help you figure out if that's possible for you? The pool of buyers that would react to that versus the idea of 20% down is night and day. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you guys so much. All right, now throwing it over to Tiffany and Jade from Greater Metropolitan Title and Escrow.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to let you guys all know that I am planning a lunch and learn on Wednesday, May 25th. It will be at 1 p.m. through, excuse me, Zoom, and it will be on entities. So this is a great class for every type of agent, seasoned agents, new agents. We're going to go over all entities, what title needs in regards to these entities, and how to sign a contract when dealing with these entities. So again, it will be at 1 p.m. on May 25th, and we will send an invitation out in email that you guys could register. So hope to see you all there.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Jade. Jess and Gina are not with us today, so we are going to barrel towards a conversation with everybody's favorite broker, and that's Andrew Genter. Andrew, thanks for joining us. Really excited to turn the mic over to you to talk about this. Better you than me.
Excellent. Excellent. So before we dive into the actual changes, I guess I want to talk a minute about kind of how this all works and how we land where we are today with some changes that are coming down the pipe in the next week here. So probably as far back as a year ago or so, we started having some concerns about a few things in the contract that we needed changed, and then usually that conversation leads to a few more things, and then a few more things. And so at this point, we have a small group of people that are kind of charged with looking over things and making changes so that we have contracts and documents that are as good as they can be for our agents. Right now, that group is made up of myself, Julia, Colleen Miklas, and Liz Kosminski. I don't know that we need the group to be any bigger, but that is the group. So if you have any concerns about something, or if you had a problem on a transaction that was ultimately tied to the position that was created because of the contract, please reach out to one of us, because that's usually kind of the starting point for how we end up making changes. Is we start to discover that we're banging our head against a wall repeatedly because of something in our contract that's just not quite the way it should be. So that's certainly what started the conversations around the things we're going to talk about today. So I believe we've got some slides that we can start up here, and then I'll talk through what each of these changes are. I think there's a total of 5 or 6 changes. So first up is right on the first page, trying to make it easy for us for any kind of seller contributions, which I know have not been overly normal lately. But I remember a day where they were on every contract, and I'm sure they will be again at some point in the future. So this language ensures that you will do it exactly as the lender needs it to be. And it gives you the opportunity to put in either a dollar amount or a percentage, depending on how you want to write it in. But that is, you see there the clip of that, it's on line 35. So it's right under where you've got price and down payment and earnest money. And the primary purpose for us actually creating a place for that, in part, so the language is in there for you, but also I think it's much easier to have one place that we're all doing it and we know where to put it, as opposed to agents kind of hiding it in different places on the contract. So the worst thing that can happen is we put a deal together with a seller and everything gets accepted, and then they discover a week or two into the transaction that on page 3 in the charges and escrows section, you put in there that the seller is going to pay $3,000 of the buyer's closing costs, and now the seller doesn't like that deal anymore. So we're just trying to simplify things a little bit here so that we don't have deals blowing up over misunderstandings. So next one up. All right, so this was the one that started the original conversation a year ago. So it's a little late coming, unfortunately, but it is finally here. I don't know how many of you had a problem with this, but starting right when everything kind of shut down, shortly after that, so in April, people would have transactions closing and they weren't showing up as transferred on the auditor's site or being filed at the recorder's office for weeks because they were behind and because they had made the process so much more disconnected that you couldn't, couriers couldn't run files in anymore, that type of thing. So transactions were closing, escrow was closing, money was being dispersed, and it wasn't changing on the auditor's site for 15 or 20 days. And there were sellers that were holding keys. So we needed to make a change. And I know Tiffany has been on this meeting and in other meetings in the past saying that the moment everything is dispersed, title is guaranteeing that the property is transferring. There's no need to be concerned about what date the auditor changes it on their website. So we wrestled with language for a long time with Cindy Lambert on how to go about doing this in a way that was effective and wouldn't just cause more problems for us in the future. So you can see the language in yellow there and the changes that we've made to tie transfer to the closing of escrow and the disbursement of funds, as opposed to the word filing or recording, being that that's something the title company has zero control over anymore. So that change, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of buyers I had to have conversations with where sellers were just basically shutting them out of a house that they bought last week, and they still weren't able to get keys. So this is big. I wish it would have come sooner, but we've got it now, and we're in the right spot. And I will say, I think we're still pretty progressive on this front. Most brokerages do not have this kind of language in their contracts. So I think this will be helpful to our buyer clients moving forward. Next one. All right. So we have decided to add the walkthrough language directly to the purchase agreement, as opposed to having a walkthrough addendum. In the pace of this market, agents seem to forget a walkthrough addendum at times, or any number of other forms, unfortunately. But the walkthrough addendum did come back to bite some people if they weren't using it, and then sellers were not letting people come back and check out the house to make sure it was still the same house before closing. So we have gone ahead and just put it right in the contract. The one difference that means for you in your practice is that there is not a signing off of a walkthrough addendum anymore after the walkthrough is complete. This statement just creates the opportunity for the buyer to do it. And by not notifying people that there was a problem, you have in essence removed the final walkthrough contingency. So the language on here is pretty much identical to the language that was on the walkthrough addendum originally. So as far as the way you explain it to people, you can continue to explain it the exact same way. It's just now in the purchase agreement as opposed to a separate piece of paper. All right. The closing disclosure is just, we're just making sure that we're stating that people need to review it. We've had a few people try to, not close right at the end because of thing that they somehow didn't understand or didn't know. So now they're signing off on that, saying that they understand that they need to review it. And the inspection section, this is something I believe is actually already in the contract currently that we changed and just kind of haven't announced, but general home inspectors need to be licensed in the state of Ohio. We had a conversation about this on a Tuesday meeting just like this, probably 6 or 8 months ago, if I remember correctly. So it is in the contract now that it's very clear that general home inspectors need to be licensed. It also makes it very clear that if you're inspecting something specific, that is not, there's no license required to inspect a boiler or a pool. But a general home inspection is a licensed job at this point. So you will run the risk if you use an unlicensed inspector, or your buyer wants to use an unlicensed inspector, you will run the risk of not being able to do any negotiating because you will have broken the contract and broken the law for that matter, because the state of Ohio says you have to use licensed home inspectors if you're a licensed realtor, and you have to recommend 3 licensed home inspectors if you're going to recommend any at all.
Let's say that a little louder and one more time for the people in the back. You have to recommend 3. They all have to be licensed.
Got to recommend 3. And I would encourage you, it is a terrible practice to schedule the home inspection for your buyer. Because when everything goes bad and all the plumbing is leaking on the first day they've moved into the house, they're going to call you and ask you why your home inspector that you scheduled for them didn't catch this. So it's really important you give them 3 names and that you tell them to do some research about the 3. I wouldn't even go as far as to give them any advice on which one you would pick, that sort of thing. I would say, if they said, which one would you pick, or which one would you have your mother call if she was buying a house? I'd say, you know what? All 3 of these people are excellent. You can't go wrong with any of them. Feel free to do your own research if you like, and feel free to pick somebody not on this list for that matter. But they do need to be licensed. So whoever the buyer's hiring needs to be licensed, whether it's one of the three you're recommending or not.
Every time I get that question, I just say, well, my mom is a licensed home inspector, so she wouldn't have to call anybody.
All right, so the representations and disclaimers section, I hope you guys already know what this paragraph always was, but if you remember, this paragraph used to end with a blank line that you had to write the word none on, or write the representation or disclaimer that was the reason the people were buying the house. So the purpose of this paragraph is just to make the statement, in essence, that regardless of any information that the buyer has received, whether it be from the seller, the listing agent, you, the next door neighbor, whoever, that those reasons aren't the specific reasons they're buying the house, but rather because they saw it and liked it, and that's all. But by agents not writing the word none in the bottom, it kind of negated the paragraph before. So we've just kind of idiot-proofed that paragraph a little bit and made it so you don't have to write the word none. The buyer is signing this contract understanding that they are not buying the house for any specific reasons that have been stated by anybody involved, like some of the things you see in there, like square footage or something like that. Because we've certainly had some issues where the house was marketed as 2,200 square feet, and then on the appraisal it says it's 1980, and the buyer wants everybody to be in trouble over that. And it's just not going to happen because it's not within our realm to guarantee that kind of information.
So Andrew, what's the timeline on, before we jump to the next section, what's the timeline on some of these changes taking root? Like, when am I going to see a different document in my .loop DocuSign? How else will you tell me about it?
So you will, there'll be emails that go out from either Julie or Carrie, just kind of announcing the day officially when they've changed over. We don't unfortunately have full control over when the document shows up in DocuSign and .loop, but I believe the expectation is that the new contract will be in DocuSign either end of this week or very beginning of next. And for .loop users, it may take a little bit longer, just because .loop seems to take a little bit longer to take our form and put all the check boxes and everything in it to put it in the system for us. But so do note, watch for that email sometime over the next, say, 7 days, because if you're currently using if you've got your own what would you call that, like buyer package,
yeah,
in .loop or DocuSign for that matter, the contract will be the old one. So you'll need to make sure that you do need to make that change. If you're using the brokerage's buyer package, then this new document will be in that package when it changes. So again, it'll be, because we don't have control over the last part of the process, it could be Friday or Monday in DocuSign, and I think end of next week for .loop.
Now, all of our agents are explaining all lines of the contract every single time to all of their clients. But if there was one thing that you would have them put extra special attention on based on these changes that maybe could be something significant to come back to bite them potentially, what's the thing that you're like, hey, look, big change here, make sure this registers with your clients?
Big change here. Amongst these changes, I mean, I think that the only one the client really feels is the language around what closing means.
Right on.
And I'm not even sure that they feel it, because a buyer and seller understand closing to be whatever their agent tells them, right? I mean, they know when they get the phone call from their agent that it's closed, right? So I think that's more important, that amongst agents, we understand between buyer's agent and listing agent that this is what the contract says about what the moment of closing is. And so if possession is transferring at closing, then this is what we've defined closing as.
Right. And so, Debbie Garson dropped in the chat, it's important that everybody understand what exactly does disbursement mean. Like, if I can't see the money in my account, has it dispersed?
Yeah. So this is actually the reason we picked the word disbursement, was because this is the only concrete event that we can tie closing too, right? So literally the moment the title company is hitting the button to send the wire, that's the moment the money is no longer in the title company's possession. So that's the moment disbursement exists. And that's something we can document. Like if we have to call Jade and get that because we need to protect ourselves because somebody's saying it didn't happen, like that's something that we can document with a timestamp that says at 2:37 and 24 seconds on June 14th, the wire went out. So that's the moment that the title company officially had a completed package and the lender agreed and money was brought in and then it was sent out.
Right.
So that's the reason for the word disbursement specifically, because that's the only concrete moment in time that we can tie this to.
So for anybody who has the seller that says, well, I don't want to deliver keys, or I don't want to do XYZ because I can't see the money, disbursement means that it is traveling through cyberspace on the way to their accounts. And that is, per our contract, the definition of closing.
Yeah. And we can get that from the title company if needed.
Right.
If somebody says like, I still don't believe it, that's something the title company can provide to say, like, we sent you the money at this time. And as far as wires go, that means it's going to show up in your bank sometime between the next hour and the next 14 hours, I guess, depending on the time of day or depending on the bank.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
that's the reason for it, because we needed something specific. And I've got a little secret to tell you that title companies have been doing this forever and telling people stuff is closed and everybody's been happy with it. But then because all of a sudden we went from like a 2 or 3 hour gap with the recorder to a 2 or 3 week gap with the recorder, all of a sudden this became a huge problem that everybody was worked up about. So that's the reason for the language changes, because it just, when it was a 2 hour lag, the title company just did what they did and didn't tell anybody. Now that it's a 2 week lag, everybody knows that it hasn't officially been recorded. So we need to change the language.
All right, terrific. And then the long-awaited, heavily touted septic addendum.
So one thing in the contract, we did not show the small change in the purchase agreement tied to the septic addendum, which is now next to the septic inspection on the inspection selection page. In parentheses, it's going to say see septic addendum. And the primary purpose of that is to kind of create the trip hazard for agents to be using the septic addendum if there's a septic system, right? So now you can flip to the septic addendum. I'm not going to go into great detail about this because it would take another 20 or 30 minutes. Every situation is different and every county is different. This addendum will work in every county, so this is not Geauga specific or anything like that. What I will say is if you are selling a house with a septic system and you're unfamiliar with that process, please, please, please call me or call an agent that does a lot of business in areas where there's septics. It is not hard, but it is specific. So you have to make sure you do the right things. It's not hard, but you have to make sure you do the right things up front and you're creating the right expectations. That's entirely what this addendum is about, is creating the right expectations so that buyer and seller are on the same page with how a septic inspection, whether it be private or with the county, is going to take place and who's going to be responsible for what is really the purpose of this document.
And there's the rest of it.
Yeah, there she is. It's a one-page document. It really it goes through there's 3 choices. One is seller's going to do the inspection and make sure everything is good. Another choice is buyer's buying it as is and they understand that. And another choice is similar to option 1, but is really tied more to if the inspection can't be done, because that's a much more detailed process. So option 1 and option 3 create a scenario where the seller's responsible. Option 3 just creates a little more legwork because of, like, say, not being able to do the inspection in the winter time, or because the house is vacant for more than 30 days, which seems to happen constantly.
Yeah. And for everybody who's on the call, who's, you're like, I don't even know what a septic is, or I've never done a deal with septic. I want to reiterate Andrew's point around, if you're in a deal that has it, you are better off raising your hand, calling Andrew, myself, and connecting with with another agent, throwing something on the Facebook group, and just saying, hey, I'm running into my first septic deal. Who has a few minutes to chat? It will save you a lot of work on the back end and ensure that you are taking advantage of the culture here to get the assistance that you need to help your clients. So don't shy away from doing that. Cool. Andrew, any final remarks for the good of the order here, my friend?
I don't think so. I guess I'll just kind of tie this all back to the same thing I always talk about, and that is, as Mike, I think, kind of joked earlier, that people are always going through everything in these contracts with all of their clients. It is important that you have some level of conversation about what's being said in these contracts, because otherwise people will make their own expectations about what happens as to when they need to turn in earnest money, or when they need to schedule the inspection, or what they do after the inspection. So it is super important that you guys are setting those standards for people and making sure they understand what to expect and at what time it is that things need to be done. So please be doing that with your clients. Don't just put something in dot loop and say, we got to hurry up, we got to get this over in the next 2 hours. Like, take 10 minutes and explain to them when they need to put the earnest money in and where it's going to go, and when they need to get the inspection scheduled, and what's going to happen after the inspection as far as just timelines, because you don't know what's going to happen. You haven't done the inspection yet, but it's important they know that it needs to be done soon and that they only have a few days afterwards, that type of stuff. Because otherwise people will just do whatever they think is normal, and most people, what they think is normal isn't normal at all. So that's it for me.
I love it. Well said, my friend. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody on that forms committee. You know, I know it sounds like a ton of fun, and it is, I'm sure, to parse through line by line. But a big thank you to those folks who are helping protect our agents and our clients. Up next is a Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan community member, Mike Joyce, who is a new spearhead for a great company coming to Northeast Ohio that has already been a partner with some of our agents. And so Mike is doing some legwork for this group, and we've invited him to talk about what this new company, Truehold, is, how they work, and how to turn it into a MOFR for our clients. So Mike Joyce, please unmute yourself and come to the main stage, my friend.
Hey guys, how are you? Good morning. Yeah, a lot of familiar faces. It's good to see everybody again. And thank you for defining what MOFR meant, because I had no idea, and my mind was going all night. I won't go over exactly what I thought it might have been, but you know, yours makes a lot more sense than mine.
Well, let's just say this, Mike. I'm sure you've been called worse.
I've been, yeah, probably in the last week or so. So again, yeah, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. I'll try and keep this a little short-winded. My 5-minute elevator speech. I know a lot of people on this call right now do know about what Truehold is and have actually tried our services. So a quick little background of what Truehold is. You know, we're a newer company founded early last year in 2021. Our founders were really just taken back with how their family members, their elder senior family members, had really no place to go when it came to trying to choose between living in their home and paying for their finances on such a limited budget. We're seeing that a lot of Americans, over 90% of Americans, really would love to age in place, live at home, live in their own home, opposed to going to a senior facility or even coming to live with us. And a lot of times, we don't want our parents or in-laws in an in-law suite. We want to use that in-law suite for our man cave or she shed instead. So We found a solution to where we can get the equity out of their home, which is where most of their money is being stored anyways, equity out of their home and into their pockets quickly, and keeping them in their house while doing so. It's really simple. It's a sale leaseback program that we came up with, where we will buy your home for 100% of market value. And it really is market value that we tried to reach. You'll get cash, debt-free cash from the proceeds in your pocket, and then immediately we will lease the home back to you for a minimum of 6 months to a maximum of forever. So, there's a time frame to where you need to stay in the home, but you can stay there as long as you'd like. We quickly found that it wasn't just seniors either, which really, the housing market in this country, if you really look at the seniors right now, the baby boomers who have really taken over, really wanted to stay in their homes. And we're talking, 80-70%, I think, of the homes in this country are owned by seniors. And that's a big market for realtors to try and get a hold of. They don't want to move. How can we help? And that sale leaseback program is a great way to do that. Not only that, we talked so much, and you guys talked so much about the shifts that are happening currently, the seller's market that we're in, and it's shifting all over the place. And sellers, they want to buy home, but it might be easy to sell, but where are they going to go? Do they want to be cash heavy in the seller's market? Do they want to go build? Well, this gives them an opportunity to still grab their home at market value, sell it at market value, put that cash in their pocket, stay in their home for 6 months, maybe longer, whenever that market starts to change. And then they can go out and buy that forever home that they've been looking for, or throw that cash at a builder and sit in their home and wait for that builder to build, opposed to the high costs of throwing, a 2,500 square foot home worth of your belongings into storage. That can become very expensive over time. Other, divorcees even. I know we see that a lot in real estate, and they're not really fighting over the home, they're fighting over the money. It's easy to, one divorcee to live in the home and rent it while they can disperse that cash. So a lot of options, not just senior living for this. And, I think it not only going to help our clients, it can help you as an agent as well. Finding optionality for your clients, giving them an extra option to sell their home when they feel lost.
Yeah, I think that there's, and I hope you'll talk a little bit about the mechanics of how this works, because look, the opportunity for a sale leaseback program is really attractive in a market that has some uncertainty. It's really attractive when I know that I'm going to do new construction, I need cash on hand, or I don't have a dead to rights closing date, maybe the 6 months out. And so there's a lot of different factors that make this attractive. If I'm an agent listening to you right now, Mike, how do I go about doing this? And I'll ask the question that everyone's thinking: how do I get paid? How do I get cut in on this deal?
Absolutely. So first of all, get a hold of me, reach out to me directly. I'll put in my email and phone number here that nobody has it yet. And all we need really is a minimal amount of information on your client's home address, their name. I can look up the rest on the auditor's website, but give me what, in your opinion and their opinion as well, what's been done to the home, the age of the systems, the best way we can come up with a great price, a great offer on that home. And within 48 hours, I will, my risk assessment team and underwriters will get an offer to you and your client. And the offer sheet will read cash offer, and below will read all the comps that we came up with. And along with that is going to be the lease for the 6 months, and the price on the lease. Take that to your clients, and don't say yay or nay. If they say yay, we'll write up a purchase agreement that day and send it over to them. It's honestly, it's really as easy as that.
Excellent. So this is something where I can take the opportunity, put it in front of my clients, take advantage, and then in as little as 48 hours, they could have an offer on their home. There's no getting it ready to go to market. There's no listing it. There's no anything.
So, nope. And at that point, when we take over the lease, Truehold is now the owner of the home. So we take over all the burden of home maintenance. So that's another thing that especially with the senior community, sometimes they won't be able to maintain their home. We take over the warranty of the systems. We take over the homeowner's insurance, and the property taxes. The agent, we charge a 6% fee, so we split that with the agent. So you're still making your 3% on the sale. So your commission stays intact.
We love that.
And again, we close within 30 days, 21 to 30 days. It is a cash deal. We do, however, have a home inspection. Unlike a typical iBuy situation, we are looking to buy a home that we will keep as an investment, and we want to make sure that home is in good shape. So we will hire Andrew, a licensed home inspector, and for sure about home inspection that will happen. And just like any home inspection, we know that concessions can come up at the end of an inspection. So across the board, we see 1 to 3% of concessions, and that's on average, across the country. And that can happen. I know we've seen situations where the inspection, the seller says it's in mint shape with granite countertops and brand new systems, and we find issues that aren't exactly to those standards. So, but we do have an inspection, and after that inspection is completed, some negotiations can take place. But then we still close within those 30 days.
So a couple of quick questions for you here in the chat. One, I want to confirm, I know this to be the case, but if they want to stay in the house for 60 months, they can. And so how does it work if I'm staying in the house longer term from a rate adjustment and all that? And give me the 10,000 foot view of that.
Absolutely. So, we structure our lease agreements on a 1-year lease. However, in that first lease, you are able to get out of it. You're able to leave after 6 months. That's why we say 6 months. After that 6 months, you are still on a year-to-year lease where you can leave after a 30-day notice. So in our contract for the lease agreement, you are able to give it after 6 months, able to give a 30-day notice to leave at any time. You can extend that lease as long as you'd like, and continue to pay on a year-to-year basis. And year after year for the first 5 years, I believe it is, we increase rent at 2.5%, and that seems to be the standard of living. We try to keep up with the standard of living, and then it fluctuates after that. After the first 5 years.
So $25 on every $1,000 of my rent every year.
Yeah. And I see our terms is price negotiable. So if we come to you with an offer of $400,000 on your home cash, and let's say $2,500 rent, and you say, well, let's take a look at, we would like to be here. We'd like to be a little bit higher on the cash offer. Sorry, my dog's in the background. I apologize. We can look at it. We can take a look at the numbers and see if they make sense. I have constant communication with my risk assessment team.
I think that one of the things that makes the knowing from the agents who have done and are currently doing deals with your company is that there's not an algorithm that's spitting it out, right? There's a human on the other side that is providing context and actually negotiating, right? It's not, you're not playing computer chess against Deep Blue here. You're actually talking to another person on the other end of the line. So in the interest of time, Mike, I'm going to let you plug this event for next week that is happening in downtown, or excuse me, in Independence.
Right.
I'll drop that in the chat for everybody.
Yeah, so next Tuesday, we're holding a launch event at the DoubleTree in Independence from 12 to 2. All agents are welcome from 12 to 2. We'll be going over the same thing, except, a little bit more in detail, answering a lot of questions, serving a lot of food, refreshments. Also from 4 to 7, this may not pertain to all agents. However, we are also a healthcare company as well. And from 4 to 7, we're going to have an open house, and including a lot of our healthcare facilities in the area, come and take a look at what we can offer the senior living. So if you're SRES certified, you deal out with the senior community, that might be beneficial to you as well.
All right, terrific, guys. Well, listen, there is a great opportunity for you to engage in a conversation with literally anybody who owns a home about an opportunity for them to unlock their equity, access some financial capital, and to age in place, whatever the angle is. There's a lot of different ways that this can be a leverageable resource. And I want you to know that we've got, as I mentioned, we have agents who are currently working and who have completed deals with Truehold. And so, and one of our very own is the point person for Truehold here in Northeast Ohio. So we're very excited to partner with them, to support them, and obviously to help you help your clients. So great MOFR opportunity here. And Mike Joyce's information is in the chat box if you're looking for marketing resources, paraphernalia, follow-up questions, or just other ways to get this in front of your people. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of the market of the moment and go forth and MOFR, my friends. Thank you very much, and have an awesome, awesome week. We will see you on Thursday, and we will see you on Thursday at the Red Day sites, and then at 3 p.m. at Masthead Brewing for the after party.